Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I greet you in the Arabic, Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon my brothers and sisters in Islam, and peace be upon my brothers and sisters in humanity. I'd like to first of all welcome you on behalf of our chairman, Sheikh Sultan Niazul Hassan, the chairman of the Bahu Trust. I want to also personally thank him for his blessings. Whenever we organize something, he always allows us to come outside of the four walls and allow the four walls to bring in people of different faiths and different backgrounds. So I thank you, Sheikh, for helping to organize this. There's a few apologies first I'd like to read out. Our Quaker friend, there are a lot of Quaker friends here, but one could not make it. Hi, Quaker friends. Thank you for joining us today. You've come in full force. But our Quaker friend Anne Austin from Christchurch could not make it today, but we know that she's here in spirit with us. Also, the Bishop of Birmingham sends his apologies as well. But he said to me, he said, Abdullah, please convey my deepest sympathy to those who mourn and suffer, and my complete solidarity and support for all who seek to worship in freedom and peace. And that's why we're here today, is protecting that freedom and peace, and also remembering those who have lost their lives and have left this world for a better world, and also to recognize our friendships with our non-Muslim brothers and sisters who always stand by us in difficult times and have sent us out messages of support and condolences that have really helped to give us patience. Finally, the last person who cannot make it, sent his apologies, is James Brockenshire, Secretary of State for Housing, Communities and Local Government. He's very sorry that he could not make it today last minute, but he's one of his senior advisors. Basha, where are you? Yeah, one of his senior advisors is here, has come from London, so we really appreciate, Basha, that you're here today to represent the Community and Local Government Department. On behalf again of the Sheikh, I would like to say thank you to our councillors that are here today, people from the different faiths, CPS that are here, Pavians representing, also imams from the Bahu Trust and faith leaders from all the different faiths who are here today, and some of them you will be hearing from shortly. And above all, you, the community that have come here today to be by our side at this difficult time, a difficult time for all of us. But I'm just going to go off script for a while because I got quite emotional just a few minutes ago. Actually, Jo, who's sitting in the audience here in the front, is actually from New Zealand, and she's actually from Christchurch. And I want you to know, Jo, that we love you, and we love the people of New Zealand, and the way that New Zealand has come together and the Premier has come together is an example for the whole world. So bless you for coming here today, Jo. I'm going to now move on swiftly to a Quran recitation, brothers and sisters. Sheikh Nadi Al-Hanafi, Hanawafi, is a professional Azari Qari from Egypt, an expert in the field of the art of Quranic recitation. He is a teacher based here at the Birmingham Quran Academy and will be leading the Quranic tribute at today's service. Can I call up Sheikh Nadi, please, to the stage?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا استعينوا بالصبر والصلاة إن الله مع الصابرين. ولا تقولوا لمن يقتل في سبيل الله أموات بل أحياء ولكن لا تشعرون. ولنبلونكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. أولئك عليهم صلوات من ربهم ورحمة وأولئك هم المهتدون. قولوا آمنا بالله وما أنزل إلينا وما أنزل إلى إبراهيم وإسماعيل وإسحاق ويعقوب والأسباط وما أوتي موسى وعيسى وما أوتي النبيون من ربهم لا نفرق بين أحد منهم ونحن له مسلمون. ولو أننا نزلنا إليهم الملائكة وكلمهم الموتى وحشرنا عليهم كل شيء قبلا ما كانوا ليؤمنوا إلا أن يشاء الله. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين قوم عسى أن يكونوا خيرا منهم ولا نساء من نساء عسى أن يكن خيرا منهن ولا تلمزوا أنفسكم ولا تنابزوا بالألقاب بئس الاسم الفسوق بعد الإيمان ومن لم يتب فأولئك هم الظالمون. ومن آياته أن خلق لكم خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف ألسنتكم وألوانكم إن في ذلك لآيات للعالمين. صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah khair. Sheikh Nadi, beautiful recitation. Really touches the soul and the heart. And you've added so much to this this gathering. And inshallah we will be calling you up later. When the actual attack happened, I wasn't in the UK at the time, and I had two instincts. One was to express how sorry I felt for those victims. Just today we were praying across the road, and he brought it home again to me that you could be just in a place of worship with your back turned, and something like that could happen. But my second instinct was my non-Muslim brothers and sisters. I had a panic about there being retaliations. Thank God there hasn't been. And I, as you do, I put a post out naming some of those non-Muslim friends, friendships that I would call brotherly and sisterly love that I've developed over the years. I named a few of those people. I mentioned Laura, I mentioned James, I mentioned Fred, who always seems to be hiding in the audience. Oh, there he is. And a few others I mentioned. And it was my way of saying, let not this divide us. No chance, we will not allow that. And today is an example of how these acts can bring us more closer together. And then I see an article of a really close friend, one of those friends I mentioned, James, splashed all over the Birmingham Mail. And he basically felt he had to do something, but I'll let James speak about that. And James will give a Christian reflection, but also what he did straight after the attack. You may recognize him. James, can I ask you to come up and share some reflections?
Greetings. It's deeply honouring to be asked to talk to you. I'm not particularly used to speaking in front of such an esteemed audience. In answer to Abdullah's question, I'm sure everybody on the planet saw what happened last Friday and had that deep sense of horror that a human being could do that for any reason, for any purpose. I mean, were we not all scratching our heads thinking, what is this? What is? Have we seen the very worst of humanity expressed in what happened there. And I suppose in that moment of almost panic, of wanting to do something but feeling like anything that we could do would be totally inadequate, how could anything that we try to express make anything of a difference for your community, for New Zealand, for the world? You know, there's just nothing that really that you can do. And then it came to me, some friends of mine had done something similar, and I just copied their idea. So very simply, I went to the shop, I bought some flowers. My friend Marcus and I went to Central Mosque, it was nearby where we were, and we gave some flowers to worshippers as they left Friday prayers last Friday. What I think was overwhelming for me doing that was the responses of people. I didn't have to explain what I was trying to do. I was dreading that. I didn't know how to put that into words. People just seemed to understand. The look on people's faces, the smile on people's faces seemed to connect. And there didn't seem to be any need for any explanation. Almost nobody walked past without taking a flower. That was amazing. And the smiles on people's faces, they just connected human to human across cultural and religious boundaries was breathtaking. Much to our surprise, the press were there. I think they were there for something else. And there were some photos taken. We weren't sure where they would be used or what would happen with those. And then what was further overwhelming was then seeing the responses as people then picked up on the story. People sending messages saying that they would want to have done similar things, that they thought it was a good thing to do. And I suppose from myself, I just was encouraged that in the backdrop of such horrendous and devastating actions, that there was sparks of positivity, sparks of light on a backdrop of utter darkness, that just inspired me about human nature, about the real human nature that we all know and love, and that human response to a really horrendous situation. I don't want to talk any more about that or about what I did. I want to talk to you a little bit about this man here, who some of you would have recognised from the news this week. This gentleman's wife was killed last Friday. And as a Christian, I was deeply moved to hear this man's story as he went on national, international TV and social media and said that he was praying for the man who killed his wife. He was saying that he felt sorry for him. He felt sorry that somebody would stoop that low, would feel the need to do something as tragic as he had done. And this man went further. He said that he forgave him. And I found that utterly, utterly inspiring. The teachings of Jesus, for me as a Christian, talk about forgiveness. And Jesus teaches us about loving our enemies and praying for those that persecute us. And here is a Muslim friend who I will probably never meet, from the other side of the world, who was putting into practice, in the light of what happened to his personal situation, putting into practice the teachings of my Jesus. And that is deeply inspiring. Hearing from Abdullah and hearing from others in the room in the subsequent days, I've been inspired by the responses of the Birmingham community as well as responses across the world. Different people finding different ways of expressing the light that shines against the backdrop of darkness that we heard about last week. And that's really inspiring for me, and I just am inspired by Abdullah, I always am, Cameron and others from the Bahu Trust, all the work that he's done here. And it's no surprise to me that an event like this suddenly pops up a week later with such an amazing group of people to say we are not going to see an event like last week happen and to get either a negative reaction or just to be somehow lost and brushed under the carpet. But we are going to stand together as communities of faith because we are united as human beings. God is our creator. We're united as human beings. And in moments like this, we can stand together in solidarity and say to the Muslim community, this is not acceptable. This is not going to happen again. And if we can stand with you to make that not happen, then we'll be there for you. We'll be there with you. We love you guys. We're inspired by you guys. We think you're great. And I'm just so pleased that this mosque was open today. Central Mosque was open last Friday. And fear has not come in to stop you guys from worshipping. Fear has not won here. Love has won. Thank you.
Thank you very much, James, a community activist, Near Neighbours Coordinator for Birmingham East, and a real dear friend. Your words always touch the heart, so thank you so much. I want to also thank the police, Inspector Neil Kirkpatrick, another person that's hiding. Oh, there you are. I want to just say, Neil, your team have been fantastic. They were around the mosque earlier on today as well, 2 of your officers, offering reassurance, and we really appreciate that. I appreciate you being here. We're going to just hold forth with the different faith reflections, and I'm just going to ask my dear friend Imam Ghulam Rasool to come up. He's a trustee and vice chairman of the Bahu Trust. He's a senior imam and scholar, a qualified school teacher, and former head of the Community and Social Cohesion Unit at the Charity Commission. Imam Hafiz Ghulam Rasool, can you come up and grace us with your presence?
I greet you all with the universal greeting of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I begin in the name of Allah, the most affectionate, forever merciful, and invoke salutation and benedictions on our liege Lord Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's very tragic circumstances that brings us together, but faith is a very powerful essence within our communities. Faith has united us, and faith gives us strength. And what we saw happen unfold in New Zealand, I myself in the morning when I woke up, and I saw the messages, but I had not seen a clip. And as some people in these days, they just send you videos without any kind of tagging with it. I'm a strong person, I've seen many things, not many things move me emotionally. And this video clip I opened, and I was going through about 5-10 seconds. Initially I thought it was a computer game. And then I realized this was the massacre at the masjid. And it was so disgusting, depraved, grotesque, that for the first time I felt my heart literally feel stuck. I've missed a beat. And I was so shocked. And I just put my phone down. I just couldn't look at it anymore. And the young lady who's here from Christchurch, our heart goes out to you. And we feel that your community and the leadership of New Zealand has shown a new way to the whole world. And they've come together in humanity, in virtuosity, and stood firm against hatred. There's an industry of Islamophobia which is trying to create an image of an enemy that doesn't exist. Muslims are not taking over countries. Islam is not taking over nations. Islam has a history of cohesion. In Spain, Muslims, Christians, and Jewish people live together. I come from Pakistan. One of my strong memories as a young person, at the age of 12 and a half, I went to Jhelum. In the city of Jhelum, I came around the corner, and I used to go to a Holy Trinity Primary School in West Bromwich, and there's a Holy Trinity Church in West Bromwich, which I used to attend as well. And I went to the school at the church itself. And I turned around the corner and I saw the church. And for a second I thought I probably moved into the twilight zone. And so I then, just for a second or two, blinked, and I went back and I realized there was a church in Pakistan. And there was a Christian community in Pakistan. And to me, I felt that quick bond because I went to a church, I studied in a church, I went to a church school. And I spoke to my local community, I realized there's a very strong Christian community. My father was a corporal in the British Army. And he would speak about how Muslims and non-Muslims lived together, shared quarters, traveled together, and had a joint objective in those missions. And now we're living in a world where people are trying to divide us. There's a verse in the Holy Quran which says, وَلَا يَجْرِمَنَّكُمْ شَنَآنُ قَوْمٍ عَلَىٰ أَلَّا تَعْدِلُوا اعْدِلُوا هُوَ أَقْرَبُ لِلتَّقْوَىٰ. Do not let the hatred and the enmity of others divide you. Remember, God, be on the side of righteousness, be on the side of justice. Why? Because God consciousness is better not to be like. And I think coming together, in the verse of the Holy Quran, it says, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. Those people who are believers, they are intense in their love for God. We have an intensity of belief and intensity of faith. It's our faith that gets us through this. You've mentioned that gentleman who forgave the murder of his wife. And there's many others who were so sober to give interviews, which was quite shocking for all of us watching. Is this the time? Do they need traumatic kind of attention, or they need some kind of psychiatric help at this time? But they were given interviews on national television and give very sober reflections. And to me, at the Bahu Trust, Hazrat Sultan Bahu Rahmatullah is our inspiration saint. And Sheikh Sultan Yazul Hassan, who's our co-chair and co-founder, him and his brother, they brought the teachings of Sultan Bahu Rahmatullah to this part of the world. And Sultan Sahib is always looking beyond the physical. He's always looking at intentions. He's always looking at righteousness. He's always looking at the alliance of virtuosity. He's trying to look at the best of humanity. And he's always questioning himself, how can I be better? How can I be better? How can I be stronger? How can I serve humanity better? And this is part of the mission of Sultan Bahu Trust itself. We also find the response from the leadership from around the world, especially the Muslim community as well, and the non-Muslim community, to be very supportive of Muslims at this very difficult time. And we also acknowledge that different governments, also our government, has said that they'll help improve the security of mosques in light of what's happened yesterday. 5 mosques were attacked. Now, what inspired that? It was hatred that inspired that. And we need to fight hatred. It is ignorance which is manipulated, and it is fear which is exploited. And this is we, through our education programs, through these kind of events, need to dispel those. We need to build strong, cohesive communities so that we can show our future generations that there's a better way of doing things. And we as believers, as people of faith, we need to be strong and intense in our relationship with our faith, and so that evil cannot out-trump us. And as long as there are people of faith, evil does not have a chance.
Thank you, Imam Hafiz Ghulam Rasool, for your thoughts. And I'd just like to add a couple of things to what you said. There is a little plug for Shaida back there. Hopefully, in my role with Talmam, I'll be working with Shaida to reach out to masjids to help with any security concerns they have. So that was great that you mentioned that. Also, when you said community, I'd like to also say that we've got a responsibility as masjids to reach out to our churches, to our synagogues, to our gurdwaras, because community is about all those different bits, all those different people of different backgrounds. That's what makes a community. So I urge masjids and all places of faith to reach outside, just like the Bahu Trust does, outside the 4 walls, to brothers and sisters from all different backgrounds. So I'm going to continue now, and I will call up Chairman and Representative of Council of Birmingham and West Midlands Jury, a really good friend, Ruth Jacobs, please. If you could give a reflection from the Jewish community. Thank you so much.
I found myself profoundly moved by your recitation of the verses and the choices that the verses that we heard at the beginning. I found that very, obviously for Muslims, but very universal for all of us. I'm grateful that those verses were chosen. Last Friday morning well, we won't quantify these things as being bigger or smaller, but when the Twin Towers were attacked, and when Rabbi Leonard Tan, who's now no longer with us, went to the Central Mosque to stand in solidarity with Muslims there because of the immediate response of worldwide community to Muslim terrorism. I was reminded about that because I later heard that that day, last Friday, the Faith Leaders Group went to Central Mosque and stood together with the Muslim community there. And I think that tells us something about how far this city has come with its ability to reach out to people of all faiths, and let's not forget the people of no faiths, people who are human beings and who have this desperate need to express, like the gentleman who was just here, but I can't see him now. Oh yes, I'm sorry. To feel that you're going to do something to help. Last Friday was a terrible day for Muslims, but it was a terrible day for everybody, for all peoples of all the world. Sadly, I don't think this will be the last of acts of absolute atrocity purported on innocent people. I can also say that sadly in the Jewish community across the world, the same sort of things has happened many times, where people have been at prayer and somebody's come in and shot them dead, leaving blood, bereavement, and encapsulating a sort of bestiality around. And what can we do to make a difference? My first reaction was to find the email addresses of as many of the mosques in Birmingham and send an email from the Jewish community to the mosques, just to say how sorry we were for this terrible tragedy and how we were standing together with them in a shared understanding of what this feels like. And I know that Christians and other religions feel exactly the same, because unfortunately acts of terror and racism are not confined to any one religious group. And it was very heartwarming that even in the times of shock, to receive messages back from the mosques thanking us for our friendly email and condolence wishes. That's not why we did it. We did it because the only way we can overcome these things is to build bridges. And the way of building bridges has to be through taking little steps towards each other, for putting language which could be offensive from one to the other on one side, and finding ways of building a language that is common to all of us, ensconced in care and compassion. And I think we have begun to do that quite a lot here, but it's never enough, I don't suppose. And we have to hope that it isn't going to be tragic times that bring us together, but that we can come together with happy things to celebrate. I also want to pay tribute to the police. Jewish buildings, places of buildings in this city, never mind anywhere else, have had police involvement with them for many, many years because of the threat of a few people who might wish to eradicate the Jewish people from Birmingham, never mind from the world. And we too are not too interested in taking over the world or making everybody else become Jewish. That's not our mission in life. I believe that our mission in life is exactly the same as everyone else's, to be the best we possibly can, to bring God's word to the world, and to make the world a more elevated, spiritual and beautiful place. So I want to conclude with a prayer, but I just want to say that I'm grateful that this event has taken place. There have been so many events in this last week, and there are going to be more. And we can't all go to everyone, and we can't all be seen to be at everyone. But together, knowing that there's so many people who care about bad things that happen in the world, and whichever community is targeted, that community should not feel they're alone. and that I'm really glad to be able to come here and stand with the Muslim community of Birmingham, some of them, and just feel that the Jewish presence, and I'm speaking on behalf of all Jewish people, is your grief and bereavement and shock and concern is felt by our community. So I'm just going to read this prayer to you. We are taught that Adam, our ancestor, was created alone, so that none might say, my father is greater than your father, my people than your people. And we are taught that Adam was placed alone in the Garden of Eden, so that we may all see that one life alone has the infinite worth of all of creation. Guide us, O Lord, in the love of the stranger, the support of the oppressed, and the healing of your world. May we appreciate the spirituality of diversity. May we learn to be respectful of opinions which differ from our own. Protect us, O Lord, from those who vilify, who demonize and dehumanize. Spare us from those who desecrate your holy name as they murder and terrorize the innocent. We pray for the safety and well-being of all those who serve in our emergency services, for the professionals and volunteers who risk their lives to protect our values, our homes and our communities. May justice prevail. May those who do not value the sanctity of human life and would subvert what we hold dear fail in their attempts. May all humanity join our cry of indignation, and may all civilization reject and drive out those who use terror as a tool. O Lord, keep us and preserve us in life and in security, to rejoice in your world, and let us say Amen.
I was just pretending to help Ruth off the stage. She needs no help. Thank you for those words, Ruth. I just want to apologize to you all, some of the councillors and some of the dignitaries there. We won't have enough time to have you up here speaking, and I'm sure you've got a lot to express. So we put a book of condolence on the side there. If there is some words you wish to express, please use that book of condolence. I encourage you to put a message in there. Now we are coming on to Ajit. Ajit from the Nishkam Centre. You need no more introduction than that. And Ajit will be giving a Sikh reflection from the Nishkam Centre. Thank you, Ajit.
Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Please allow me to share some verses from our Sikh scriptures. God's names and abodes are countless. Inaccessible and inscrutable are God's realms. Even to say that they are countless is to carry loads of sin on one's head. A week ago, we were faced with Christchurch. This week, we have seen mindless acts here in Birmingham. We all have a duty of care not to harm others. We are all responsible for our actions, our inaction, our words, and also our silence. We will have to answer for them and account for them. In this global scenario, there is an unprecedented opportunity for faith to elevate and illuminate the human mind and engender peace and harmony on our planet. It is a time for faiths to draw on their respective teachings to instill in us the highest human and spiritual values in order to overcome hostilities and prejudices that have caused conflict across religious divides. It is evident that human beings are capable of immense wickedness and evil. It is also true that human beings are capable of great goodness and compassion. We need to nurture good human beings with good values and virtues so that the wickedness seen in history is never repeated. We need values and virtues based on education from an early age. Misinformed human beings with warped ideologies, where vices like lust, greed, revenge, ego, and arrogance are mobilized by perpetrators, must be combated. We need to be able to mobilize values and virtues to prevent recurrence of some unforgivable acts. We should recognize all humanity as one. There should be no stranger, no other. Please allow me to share a quote from my chairman, Bhai Saipai Mahinder Singh. This goes back from 2012 during United Nations Interfaith Harmony Week. Every human act has its origin in the mind. The human mind is a powerful tool with the capacity to be either one's best friend or one's worst enemy. It can be the latent sight of the hidden enemy which propels one towards greed, cruelty, selfless, arrogance, hate, and easy condemnation of others. Or it may be the nucleus of divine power with an infinite capacity for goodness, capable of self-control, self-regulation, and accountability. A place to kindle inner peace, which when collectively marshaled can lead to peace in the family, community, and society at large, the big family. Symptoms of suffering will not be cured in any sustainable way without confronting the underlying causes in the human condition. What we need most is the transformation of attitudes and mindsets, without which all our declarations and commitments will be hollow and fruitless. The key to activate this transformation can be found in the great religious traditions of the world, which urge human beings to exercise liberal use of mercy, compassion, truthfulness, forgiveness, selfless, and an abundance of love. An ideal family, community, or society will be one where individuals collectively harness and apply these divine qualities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ajit, for your words. We're just going to play a short video now from the Metro Mayor, Andy Street.
Today, but I am also very grateful to be able to say a few words at your Quranic Memorial Service, of course commemorating the events of last week in Christchurch. And I should of course say a big thank you to Abdullah Raymond for pulling everybody together on this sad occasion. Now, looking back on last Friday, it's difficult to find the words that describe one's reaction. Obviously, it was a horrific terrorist crime, just unimaginable in our society. We've seen the dignity with which the people of Christchurch and New Zealand have reacted. And I know that everyone here in the West Midlands felt an incredible level of support for New Zealand friends last Friday. And of course, if they were going to pray last Friday, wanted to go about their own prayers with particular dignity last week, and that's right. I also hope we can be proud of our country's response as a whole of The Prime Minister, I think, has spoken for us in showing our eternal friendship towards New Zealand. And the Home Secretary has taken what I think are appropriate steps about further funding, which is all designed to enable us to continue our tolerant way of life. And of course, that's so important here in the West Midlands, a place where there are so many different communities and faiths, and it's our collective job to make sure that everyone can continue to exercise their own faith and that nothing can stop that. So out of terrible adversity, I hope has come an even stronger commitment that we must never let intolerance, hatred and ignorance win through. And I'm appreciative that you're all coming together in that mindset today.
Can I swiftly move on? Inspector Neil Kirkpatrick, can I ask you to quickly say a few words? Thank you. This will be the last speaker before the short memorial will begin, the memorial piece. Thank you, Neil.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me? Never get microphones right. I'm too tall. Right then, so I feel really honoured and both humbled to come here to this memorial event, not only as a representative of West Midlands Police, but also on a personal level as a friend of Bahu Trust, who I've worked closely with, particularly with Abdullah and Cameron over the last 12 months. Last week we saw a tragic act of terrorism in a different part of the world, and our thoughts, condolences and prayers are with the victims that lost their lives, their families that were affected, the wider Muslim family across the world, and obviously the Muslim family of the Bahu Trust and everybody else of every faith group that this has affected. Not only have we seen that locally, we saw the mosque attacks within Birmingham a couple of nights ago. As a police officer and as a friend of Bahu Trust, I understand why the Muslim population of Birmingham may now feel fear, feel worry. And that's where my role as a police officer, also as a friend, is there to reassure you as a community. In response to everything that's happened, we will continue to step up our reassurance to the Muslim community. We visit mosques, and that's as an act of friendship as well. My officers will be calling into mosques to speak to people. I want to understand exactly how the local community feels and what we need to do as West Midlands Police in order to allay those concerns and to reassure you. My simple message particularly to all faith groups, but particularly to the Muslim community in light of what's happened, is that hate crime won't be tolerated. It won't be tolerated by the society, and it won't be tolerated by West Midlands Police. And it remains one of our biggest priorities to prevent within Birmingham. I've been told to keep it short, so that is my message. And like I say, thank you very much for inviting me as a friend as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Inspector Neil Kirkpatrick. He's also delivered a couple of speeches at our Friday prayers and has hogged the pulpit on one or two occasions. But we've managed to separate him from the pulpit just before the Friday prayer starts. But I thank you so much. We are running late. My apologies. I am to blame. But I would like to quickly and swiftly call up my dear sister Rusa Tair, manager, Birmingham Quran Academy. The Quran Academy runs in this very building. A modern mosque supplementary school run by the Bahu Trust. And also I would like to call up Sheikh Nadi. Sheikh, would you like to come back up? And Sister Arusa will be reciting a poem that was written by one of the families of the victims in New Zealand. And then we will observe a minute's silence after your poem, after you read out the poem. And then the memorial service will then proceed with Sheikh Nadi reciting some Quranic verses. Jazakallah. Would you like to take the stage? Thank you.
Appreciate that the effort that you made to find out the timing of our new prayer. Appreciate that you learned more about our religion to know that Fridays are the days the men go to the mosques for their congregational prayers. But I guess there were some things you rather unfortunately didn't get to learn. Perhaps you didn't know that what you did probably made them martyrs, and how you have single-handedly raised the statuses of our brothers and sisters in the eyes of their beloved Creator with your actions, and how through your actions they'll be raised at the most righteous and the pious of Muslims. Perhaps you didn't know that doing what you did, and at the time and the place you chose, it actually meant that the last words that escaped their lips were probably more of remembrance and praise of Allah, which is a noble end many Muslims can only dream of. And perhaps you didn't know, but what you did would almost guarantee them paradise. Appreciate that you showed the world how Muslim welcomes with open arms even people like yourselves into our mosques, which is our second home. Appreciate you for showing that our mosques have no locks and no gates, and are unguarded, because everyone and anyone is welcome to be with us. Appreciate you for allowing the world to see the powerful image of a man you injured, lying on the back on the stretcher with his index finger raised as high as a declaration of his faith and trust in Allah. Appreciate how you brought the churches and the communities together to stand with us Muslims. Appreciate that you made countless New Zealanders come out of their homes to visit the mosque, nearest to them with flowers and beautiful messages of peace and love. You have broken many, many hearts, and you have made the world weep. You have left a huge void. But what you have also done is you have brought us close together, and it has strengthened our faith and resolve. In the coming weeks, more people will turn up in the mosques, and a place you hate so much, fortified by strength in their faith, and inspired by their fallen brothers and sisters. In the coming weeks, more non-Muslims will turn up at the gates of mosques with fresh flowers and beautifully handwritten notes. They may not have known where the mosque in their area was, but now they do, and that's all because of you. You may have achieved your aim of intended destruction, but I guess you failed to incite hatred, fear, and despair in all of us. And while I understand that it may have been your objective, I hate to say that after all that elaborate planning and the perverse and wretched efforts on your part, you still failed to drive and divide among the Muslims and non-Muslims in this world. And for that, I can't say that I'm sorry. Now can you please join me in observing a 1-minute silence in memory of all those whose lives were taken in last week's attacks in New Zealand. Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس صدق الله العظيم.
Imam Hafiz Ghulam Rasul, can I ask you to just finish up with some concluding comments and bring us all together with a dua?
I think for us as trustees and people who are senior staff and management of Sultan Bahu Trust and the family of Sultan Bahu, we find that the whole community come together in this way. It shows, like I said, that righteousness and good is as strong as ever, and evil, with our unity and common endeavour, with these alliances of virtue that we build, and these common bonds of sister and brotherhood that we forge, will keep us strong and will help us to overcome our challenges. Sultan Bahu Trust is open for everybody. If anybody has any wants to do anything in partnership with Sultan Bahu Trust, Kamran, Abdullah and the rest, and hopefully we can do other projects and things in the future. I'm going to read a brief dua. Dua is supplication. In Islamic theology, we have an idea of transferring meritorious acts to dead people. Once you leave this world, we believe that you can pass on your meritorious acts to dead people as gifts. As the traditional Prophet Muhammad, which says, people will go into their graves with mountains of sin. When they leave the grave, they'll have mountains of light. And they'll ask, oh Lord, where did these mountains of light come? And the Lord will say that the righteous children that you left behind and the friends and relatives you left behind is their meritorious acts which have gifted you these mountains of light. So the whole Quranic Memorial Service is about transferring meritorious acts to dead people, as is tradition within Islamic culture. So I'm going to say a prayer. Can you all join your hands together with me? Oh Lord, we ask you to bless all those who have organized and attended this first members Quranic Memorial Service of gifting meritorious acts for the massacred men, women and children who lost their life due to violent exterrorism. Oh Lord, we ask you for the protection of our communities, our supplementary schools and our places of worship, and to preserve the freedoms and human rights we enjoy in Britain. We thank you for the provision of law and order, emergency services, medical professionals, compassionate leadership, cohesive faith communities, and our caring volunteers. O Lord, we beseech you for the protection of humanity, our fellow citizens, and our neighbours. O Lord, through our golden chains of sacred transmission, especially the chain of our patron saint, Sultan Bahu rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, we give the virtuous recitation of the Quran, the salawat, the benedictions, and the remembrance, and all the kind of endeavours of all who have participated to the souls of the victims of that tragic incident which took place. O Lord, we ask you to elevate all of them, sanctify the souls, preserve their memories, and bless them with the intercession of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. O Lord, we ask you to save us from evil plans of those hate-mongers who wish to divide us. O Lord, we thank you for the safety and protection, the rights and rule of law we enjoy as equal citizens. O Lord, we ask you to guide these darkened, hardened hearts to the path of righteousness and kindness. O Lord, we ask you to bless all the victims with excellence in the next world, and to give patience of forbearance to the family and the loved ones. O Lord, we ask you to accept our gratitude and thanks for these brave and courageous victims who are shining light and example for all of us till the end of time. O Lord, those who are ill, we ask you to bless them with health and to give them healing, and those who are injured to heal them, and those who are suffering to ease their pain. O Lord, we ask you to bless everyone's homes, families and loved ones. O Lord, bless us all with health, success and prosperity, and fortitude in faith. Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-huda wa al-tuqa wal-afaf wal-ghina bi rahmatika.